What if I told you that the best-selling cars are actually the worst cars? The millions of buyers chose style over substance, marketing over merit, and badges over brains. Today we're exposing 9 automotive disasters that somehow became bestsellers. These aren't hidden failures, they're parked in every neighborhood, driven by people who got completely scammed. From a $50,000 Tesla with panel gaps that you could fit your hand through, to a fake Mercedes that poor people buy to look rich, to an SUV so ugly it proves buyers have gone blind. And number 1? It's killed more people than any car in its class, yet idiots keep buying it. Let's start with the car that has a cult following so blind they'd buy a cardboard box if Elon tweeted about it. The Tesla Model 3. This was supposed to be the $35,000 everyman's electric car. Instead, it became a $50,000 quality control nightmare that owners defend like their lives depend on it. Walk around any Model 3 in a parking lot. I dare you. The panel gaps are so inconsistent you'd think it was assembled by drunk robots, which it probably was. The paint is so thin that you can see the primer through it. The interior? It's literally an iPad glued to a dashboard. That's not minimalism, that's cost-cutting disguised as innovation. But here's what really proves buyers are insane. They accept it. They paid luxury car money for economy car quality and thanked Tesla for the privilege. Software updates will fix it, they say. Software doesn't fix paint that chips if you look at it wrong. Software doesn't align body panels. Software doesn't make plastic interior parts stop creaking after 10,000 kilometers. Consumer Reports documented this disaster. Internal quality scores that would embarrass a 1990s Kia. Reliability ratings below industry average. Customer satisfaction? Through the roof. That's not loyalty. That's Stockholm Syndrome. These people spent BMW money on Dacia quality because a billionaire told them they're saving the planet. The real joke? They're not even saving money on fuel. Once you factor in home charging installation, higher insurance, and a catastrophic depreciation when the battery pack ages, that Model 3 costs more per mile than a Corolla. But I guess math doesn't matter when you're in a cult. Yet Tesla sold over 500,000 Model 3s last year alone. People are literally lining up to buy a car that might be delivered with different colored body panels. One owner documented 27 separate defects on delivery. He still kept it. That's not a car purchase. That's mental illness. The BMW X6 is proof that if you price something high enough, idiots will buy it just to show they can afford it. This abomination shouldn't exist. It's an SUV that can't carry anything. A coupe that weighs 5,000 pounds and costs more than both would separately. Yet BMW has sold over 500,000 of these monstrosities. Let me explain why the X6 is automotive cancer. You take an X5, a perfectly functional luxury SUV, then you chop the roof, reducing rear headroom to torture chamber levels and cargo space to hatchback dimensions. You've now ruined everything good about an SUV. But wait, it gets worse. Because you've destroyed the aerodynamics, fuel economy drops to muscle car levels. The center of gravity is still SUV high, so it handles like a drunk elephant. Visibility? You can't see anything behind that idiotic roofline. Parking? Good luck judging where this bloated beast ends. But here's the genius part. BMW charges more for this objectively worse vehicle. An X6 costs $10,000 more than the X5 it's based on. You literally pay extra to get less car. And people do it. They line up to spend $75,000 on a vehicle that does nothing well except broadcast you have money and no taste. The reviews were savage. Every automotive journalist pointed out how pointless it was. How it combined the worst aspects of SUVs and coupes with none of the benefits. How it looked like a mutant insect. BMW's response? They made an even uglier X4 and sold that too. X6 owners are the same people who buy designer clothes with giant logos. They don't want quality or function. They want people to know they spent money. The X6 is a $75,000 insecurity on wheels, driven by people desperate to look successful. And somehow, it worked. The Nissan Juke is what happens when you let designers take acid and engineers give up on life. It's genuinely the ugliest mass-produced car ever made. Yet Nissan sold 1.5 million of them. Either humanity has gone blind or we've reached peak stupidity. Look at this thing. Look at it. Those aren't headlights, they're tumors. The hidden door handles aren't clever, they're stupid. The bulbous body looks like a frog with elephantitis. The proportions are so wrong it hurts to perceive. This isn't design, it's assault with a deadly weapon. But ugliness was just the beginning. The Juke was also terrible to drive. The 1.6 engine wheezed like an asthmatic grandmother. The CVT transmission felt like stirring soup. The handling was so vague you'd think the wheels were connected by suggestions rather than mechanical parts. The ride quality? Imagine sitting on a paint mixer. Inside was worse. Rear visibility was a joke. You literally couldn't see out. Rear seat space was so cramped it violated human rights. The dashboard looked like a child's toy with random circles everywhere. Quality? The plastics were so cheap they'd make a Happy Meal toy feel premium. Yet, people bought them. Millions of people looked at this automotive abortion and said, yes, I'll spend $25,000 on that. They had options. The Honda HR-V existed. The Mazda CX-3 was right there. Both better in every measurable way. But no, they chose the Juke. The only explanation is mass hypnosis. Nissan's marketing convinced people that ugly meant unique. The different meant good. Juke owners are the same people who think modern art is profound. They've confused being different with being worthwhile. The Juke is different like a disease is different from health. The Range Rover Evoque is what happens when you prioritize Instagram over engineering. It's a fashion accessory with wheels, bought by people who think reliability is optional and common sense is for poor people. Yet, Land Rover sold over 800,000 of these reliability nightmares. Victoria Beckham designed a special edition. That should tell you everything. This isn't a car, it's a handbag with an engine. The Evoque was designed to look good in front of boutique hotels, not actually function as transportation, and it succeeds spectacularly at being useless. The roof is so low you need yoga training to enter. The windows are gun slits that make visibility a theoretical concept. The interior is claustrophobic enough to trigger panic attacks, but it photographs well, and that's all that matters to Evoque buyers. Reliability? Land Rover consistently ranks dead last in every survey. The Evoque breaks down so often it should come with its own tow truck. Electrical failures, engine problems, transmission disasters, pick your catastrophe. One owner documented 47 separate warranty claims in 2 years. That's not ownership, that's an abusive relationship. But here's the real crime. It's not even good off-road. The car that wears the Range Rover badge, the ultimate off-road royalty, can't handle a wet grass parking lot without electronic intervention. It has the ground clearance of a sedan with the robustness of tissue paper. It's a Range Rover for people who think hiking means walking to Starbucks. Yet they keep selling. Every fashion victim with a trust fund buys one. They spend $60,000 to constantly visit dealerships, to always worry about breakdowns, to never see out of their windows properly. But hey, it looks good on Instagram, and apparently that's worth more than functioning transportation. The Mercedes CLA is the most cynical car ever made. It exists solely to let poor people pretend they own a Mercedes. It's not even a real Mercedes. It's a Renault platform with a 3-pointed star glued on. Yet Mercedes sold over 1 million to badge snobs who can't do the math. Here's the scam. Mercedes took their absolute cheapest engineering, their worst platform, their most cost-cut interior, and slapped their premium badge on it. The result? A $35,000 Mercedes that's worse than a $25,000 Honda Civic in every measurable way except badge snobbery. The interior is where dreams go to die. Hard plastics everywhere, panel gaps you could smuggle drugs through, an infotainment system that crashes more than Windows 95, rear seats designed by someone who hates humans. This isn't luxury, it's lies wrapped in leatherette. But the driving experience is the real tragedy. The CLA rides like a shopping cart, every bump transmitted directly to your spine. The engine sounds like a diesel tractor because it basically is one. The transmission jerks like it's having seizures. This is what Mercedes thinks poor people deserve. The real Mercedes buyers, the ones spending $80,000 on E-classes, laugh at CLA owners. Everyone knows it's the poverty spec Mercedes, the one you lease because you can't afford a real one. The automotive equivalent of a fake Rolex that turns your wrist green. Yet they keep selling because people are desperate to say, I drive a Mercedes. They'll suffer with terrible quality, awful reliability, and the contempt of real Mercedes owners just for that badge. The CLA buyer has announced to the world, I'm insecure about my status and bad with money. It's a rolling confession of poor judgment. The Fiat 500L is what happens when you take a beloved icon and torture it until it begs for death. The original 500 was cute, charming, and proportionate. The 500L looks like someone inflated it with a bicycle pump until it screamed. Yet somehow, Fiat sold hundreds of thousands before mercy killing it. This bloated monstrosity missed every single thing that made the 500 special. Where the original was nimble, the L wallowed. Where the original was cute, the L was grotesque. Where the original was efficient, the L drank fuel like an alcoholic at an open bar. It's like they tried to make it terrible. The proportions are so wrong they cause physical pain. It's too tall, too long, too wide, too everything. It looks like a 500 that ate another 500. The design details that were charming on the small car became hideous when stretched. Those headlights, now bug-eyed. That grille, now gaping. It's automotive body horror. Driving it was way worse than looking at it. The engines were agricultural. The transmission was apparently designed by someone who hates smooth shifts. The handling was so vague you'd think the steering wheel was connected to the wheels by prayer. It rolled in corners like a capsizing boat. Inside was a masterclass in how to waste space. Despite being huge outside, it felt cramped inside. The quality was so bad that things broke while you looked at them. The ergonomics suggested that designers had never met a human. It was transportation designed by committee, and every committee member was an idiot. Yet people bought them because, well, actually I have no explanation. There's no rational reason to choose a 500L over literally any other car. It's worse at everything than everything. The only explanation is that Fiat dealers held guns to customers' heads. The 500L is proof that someone will buy anything. The Jeep Compass is the biggest lie in automotive history. It wears the Jeep badge, the symbol of go-anywhere capability, but breaks down if you look at it wrong. It's a Fiat underneath, pretending to be American, selling to people who think badges matter more than ability. Over 2 million sold globally. This fake Jeep can't even handle a gravel driveway without something breaking. The reliability is so bad it makes Land Rover look dependable. Transmission failures at 30,000 kilometers, electrical systems that commit suicide randomly, engines that burn oil like it's their job. One owner documented spending more on repairs than the car's purchase price in the first year. But here's the real insult. It's terrible at being a Jeep. The four-wheel drive system is so incompetent it gets stuck in wet grass. The ground clearance is so low you'll scrape on speed bumps. The build quality is so bad that door seals fail and water pours in during rain. A Jeep that's afraid of weather isn't a Jeep. It's a lie. The interior continues the fraud. Cheap plastics that scratch if you breathe on them. Electronics from 2005. Seats apparently designed to cause back problems. Everything rattles from day one. It's like they actively tried to make it terrible, then charged $30,000 for the privilege. Jeep knows it's garbage. That's why they offer those lifetime warranties. They're betting you'll give up and junk it rather than bringing it back for repairs. Smart money says they're right. Most Compass owners learn to live with the check engine light permanently on. Yet they keep selling because people see Jeep and their brains shut off. They think they're buying into American reliability and off-road heritage. Instead, they're buying a Fiat in drag that'll strand them in their own driveway. The Compass isn't just bad, it's fraudulent. The Infiniti QX55 might be the most pointless vehicle ever created. It's a QX50 with a sloped roof that ruins everything good about the QX50, which wasn't much to begin with. Nobody asked for it, nobody needs it, yet Infiniti keeps making it, hoping someone, somewhere, might accidentally buy one. Here's Infiniti's logic. Take our slow-selling QX50, make it less practical by chopping rear headroom, make it uglier with a weird roofline, make it more expensive because... reasons? Then wonder why dealerships use them as loaner cars because nobody actually buys them. The entire Infiniti brand is having an identity crisis, and the QX55 is patient zero. Is it sporty? No. It weighs 2 tons and handles like pudding. Is it practical? No. The sloped roof ruins cargo space. Is it luxurious? No. It has a CVT transmission that makes every acceleration feel like depression. It excels at literally nothing. The interior is where hope goes to die. It's like a Nissan from 2015 with some leather thrown at it. The infotainment system is so old it probably runs on coal. The design language is "we gave up." For $50,000, you get the technology of a used Ultima and the excitement of beige paint. Sales numbers are so embarrassing, Infiniti stopped reporting them separately. Dealers can't give them away. Lease deals are so desperate they're basically paying people to take them. Yet Infiniti keeps building them, like a chef who keeps making a dish nobody orders. The QX55 exists because Infiniti exists. Barely, pointlessly, forgettably. It's a car for people who walk into an Infiniti dealer by mistake and are too polite to leave. It's transportation for those who've given up on life but still need to get to work. The QX55 isn't just bad, it's existentially meaningless. At number 1, the biggest insult to automotive history, the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. They took the Eclipse name, a legend of sport compact performance, and slapped it on a garbage crossover that handles like a drunk elephant and looks like a melted shoe. It's like naming your child Mozart and teaching them to play the kazoo. The original Eclipse was a sports car that defined a generation. Fast, affordable, tunable, it created the import scene. The Eclipse Cross is a CVT-equipped surrender mobile that accelerates like continental drift in corners like a capsizing cruise ship. Using the Eclipse name isn't wrong, it's grave desecration. But the name disrespect is just the beginning. This thing is genuinely terrible at being a car. The rear window has a bar through the middle because Mitsubishi thought visibility was overrated. The CVT transmission doesn't just sap performance, it actively makes driving miserable. The interior plastics are so cheap they'd embarrass a 1990s rental car. Reliability? Mitsubishi's build quality has fallen so far that these start falling apart before the warranty expires. Electrical problems, transmission failures, and build quality that makes Fiat look German. One owner reported 3 transmission replacements in 40,000 kilometers. That's not a car, that's a subscription to misery. The styling deserves its own war crimes tribunal. It looks like 2 different cars crashed into each other and nobody cleaned up the wreckage. The front doesn't match the rear. The proportions are all wrong. The details are either boring or actively ugly. It's like they tried to make it offensive to look at. Yet somehow, inexplicably, people buy them. Mitsubishi sold over 150,000 globally. That's 150,000 people who looked at this automotive abortion and said, yes, I'll exchange money for that. They had every other option. They could have literally bought anything else. Instead, they chose sadness. The Eclipse Cross isn't just the worst car on this list. It's an insult to everyone who ever loved cars. It's proof that brands will destroy their own heritage for a quick buck. It's evidence that consumers will buy anything if you market it hard enough. It's the perfect ending to this list of automotive failures that somehow succeeded. These 9 cars prove something terrifying. Quality doesn't matter anymore. Marketing beats merit. Badge snobbery beats common sense. Style beats substance every single time. Millions of people bought objectively terrible cars because they fell for the image, the marketing, or the badge. Every Tesla Model 3 with panel gaps, every hideous BMW X6, every broken Jeep Compass represents a victory of stupidity over sense. These buyers had better options. They chose worse cars for dumb reasons, and manufacturers learned the lessons. Why build good cars when bad ones sell better? The market is broken. Good cars like the Mazda 3 struggle while garbage like the Mercedes CLA thrives. Reliable brands lose to unreliable ones with better marketing. Ugly beats beautiful if it's marketed as unique. We've entered automotive idiocracy, and these 9 cars are proof. What overrated garbage do you see everywhere? Which automotive disaster do your neighbors proudly drive? Share below. But if you own one of these 9 cars, just admit you made a mistake. And if this video saved you from buying one of these rolling disasters, hit that subscribe button for more brutal automotive truth.